Thank you very much, David. Just quick sound check again, make sure no technical glitches. Everyone can hear me?
We're good.
Okay, great. So as David mentioned, I served 16 years in prison in New York State. I was arrested when I was 16 years old. I was 17 by the time the trial rolled around, and I was wrongfully convicted of murder and rape. Despite a pre-trial negative DNA test result, my wrongful conviction was caused by a coerced false confession, prosecutorial misconduct, fraud by the medical examiner, terrible public defender. I was given a 15 to life sentence because I had been charged as an adult, and that was therefore sent to a men's maximum security prison. I lost all 7 of my appeals. I got turned down for parole. Ultimately, I was exonerated through further DNA testing with the help of the Innocence Project, which not only reaffirmed the prior DNA test result and exonerated me, but also identified the actual perpetrator who had who, having been left free while I was doing time for his crime, he killed a second victim 3.5 years later, who was a school teacher and had 2 children. I believe my place in the world is to fight wrongful conviction. So I've dedicated my life to that. Been an individual advocate for about 5 years. And then I was compensated, as David mentioned. I started the Jeffrey Deskevick Foundation for Justice, and we've been able to free 7 people who were wrongfully imprisoned in 7 years. And we helped to pass 3 laws aimed at preventing wrongful conviction, specifically identification reform, DNA database expansion, and videotaping of interrogations. I'm an advisory board member of the coalition group It Can Happen to You, which originated in New York. We passed the first oversight board for prosecutors called the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct. We passed a tweak the same, and then in working in further coalition, we were able to help pass discovery law reform. So we're, in terms of the coalition group, it and my organization, we're working in several other states, not just New York. We are working in Pennsylvania, and perhaps more relevantly, we're also working in California, where our focus is going to be, again, passing the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct in California, just oversight for prosecutors, and also capital punishment. So just to tarry a bit on both of those topics, while police reform has correctly come to the forefront now in light of the George Floyd murder and also police brutality, and we'd absolutely need to help reform the police system, improve policing, get rid of the bad apples. It's not a few, by the way. If it was a few, then we wouldn't have so many instances of unjustifiable deadly police force. We wouldn't have police brutality. We certainly wouldn't have all these wrongful convictions. It's important that we not lose sight of the prosecutors. And when I say the prosecutors and the police, I'm just talking about the bad ones in the profession. There is no issue as to honest police officers doing their job by the book, nor of prosecutors. But we need to keep in mind when thinking about oversight that it's the prosecutors that decline to prosecute the police when they engage in unjustifiable deadly police force, when they engage in brutality, when they obtain evidence in violation of our Fourth Amendments. It's them who prosecute victims of police brutality, who've been charged with assaulting an officer to help the officers get away with their crimes. They're the ones who often use identification evidence, although it's suggestive. They utilize confessions that have really clear red flags around them. That's what happened to me. In my case, that was the only piece of evidence that the police have. So towards addressing that, the goal is to pass the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct, so an independent oversight board that would have subpoena power that could investigate allegations of prosecutorial misconduct. So the way the system is now, the prosecutors, they have what's called immunity. So you can't sue them in court. Although California is ahead of the rest of the country in terms of having as an E felony when they withhold evidence, no one's being prosecuted out there for it. So the commission, we see the commission as working hand in glove with that statute that's already on the books. So it's important to understand what our motivation is in doing that. In terms of capital punishment, many arguments against the death penalty. Perhaps the one that's winning in many states where capital punishment is being abolished is the innocence argument. I mean, capital punishment obviously risks the execution of innocent people. You know, California, there's people on death row. Kevin Cooper's been waiting for a long time on death row simply to get DNA testing. On October 9th, we are having a virtual, it can happen to you, with the Jeffrey Deskevick Foundation. We're going to be having a virtual event, October 9th, the summit. We are hoping to continue to build our coalition. The coalition is made up of exonerees, people falsely accused but acquitted, criminal justice reform organizations, individual advocates, friends and family of people who allege they're wrongfully imprisoned, formerly incarcerated people, and just everyday concerned citizens. So our tent's pretty big. Working in coalition, we get a consensus. There's everyone can participate to the level that they're able to, and in more meaningful ways sometimes than is possible just through the nonprofit model, where pretty much you just have to be a volunteer there, but the organizations have limited capacity to do that. So we give a home for everybody to come to. The era of going it alone, which was the case for quite a long time. I mean, that's proven to mostly be ineffective in coming together and working together, focusing in on one or two issues that we work on collectively, where we get consensus. And then as far as all the other issues that we're all individual organizations are pushing, just supporting each other in that, just through memos of support, issues like that. So, I mean, you think about when it comes to wrongful conviction, there's many elements of the system that are working together. It starts on the police level, the prosecutorial level, judicial level. I mean, very seldom do judges keep out coerced false confessions or identifications that are made under suggestive conditions. The appellate judges are not very good at catching and correcting wrongful convictions. If they were, the average length of wrongful imprisonment wouldn't be 14 years. It wouldn't be the case that by the time most people are exonerated, their appeals have long since been exhausted. And when you look at the case narratives in cases that have ended in exoneration, when you go to the National Registry of Exoneration, when you go to the Innocence Project and you read the case history, what happened in the case prior to that defining moment that resulted in exoneration, you see that there were plenty of red flags along the way, plenty of places where these injustices could have been stopped at any number of junctions, including the appellate level. So, there is the judicial complicity in that, the maddening focus by many judges on proceduralism rather than substantive justice. What I mean by that is I lost my habeas corpus petition because my lawyer was given the wrong information on the filing procedure, which resulted in my petition arriving 4 days late. And the court viewed that as more important, and I lost my case over my innocence argument, which included the DNA. Lastly, we can't leave out that bad lawyering is a major cause of wrongful conviction. And I think that a lot of public defenders start out with really noble intentions, but to be honest, they get worn down by really large caseloads. It's not an even playing field between their office and the district attorney's office in terms of manpower, in terms of financial resources, in terms of investigatory ability, access to experts. And some of the public defenders, they're really not very good. I mean, that's why they're not in public practice. Now, there also are good attorneys there, but I think that they get worn down, some of them, and there isn't but much time to focus. If you think about one public defender representing 100 people at a time, I mean, people have gone to college. Could you handle 10 classes at once? Could you handle 100? I mean, I know I can't. I have a law degree. I have a master's before that. There's no way I could handle 100 courses, much less 100 cases where someone's life is at stake. So I guess my point in saying that is many aspects of the system breaking down, working together, not able to do their job. And as a result of that, injustices happen. And we all need to work together on any level that we can, different forms of advocacy. And so with that, I'm going to sign off. And I'm really proud to be associated with Davis Vanguard. I was the keynote speaker last year. We continue to work with them the last year. I want to plug the series that Davis Vanguard has been featuring, the series Looking Back, where articles that I've written years before, originally at the Westchester Guardian, the Davis Vanguard has been publishing them weekly. And those articles apply nationally as well as in California, not simply in New York where I was there. So look, court watching is very important. I'm really excited about tonight's event. I mean, Mark is like incredible. The Ohio Innocence Project, they win a lot, man. It's so hard to achieve an exoneration. So many parts of the system working against you. So I'm happy to have played my part, and looking forward to continuing to work with the Vanguard this year. And listen, probably until I drop dead, David. Okay, so you're stuck with me. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and I really appreciate the time that I was given to add a little bit to tonight's event.
Thanks, Jeff.